Oh Star Wars, your popularity knows no bounds. You're also the reason why there's been a shortage of Transformers and a serious delay in Bionicles. Seriously, 3 months? Are you f***ing kidding me? Oh, and I should probably add that David Jones has stopped selling Transformers entirely because Star Wars is eclipsing the entire toy market. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we never got this wave of Bionicle, which wouldn't anger me that much because the only one that seems worth getting is Umurak, who is ironically the one that's getting the most hate. This 2-pack though, as much as I want to like it, it's a complete and utter failure. There are things to like here, but looking at it objectively, it just doesn't work. I suppose I should leave the elephant in the room until later, because what many consider to be the redeeming quality of this set is quite good. Ekimu himself should be the star of the show. Had he been packed by himself, he would have been a must-buy. His colours are great, and his proportions are beefy but not stupid. I like the variation of the mask he has, and his gear function works really well with a decent amount of friction. Some complain it's too tight, but I think it works really well. The hammer consists of a basic stud shooter, but it's not too intrusive. I also like to double up the studs, which can be done here using the extra piece count.
Please be careful not to lose the studs when you're filming.
Ekimu comes with an extra stand to hold the legendary Mask of Creation. The stand itself sucks, as the mask droops down, but the mask itself looks amazing. It's easily one of the best looking masks I've seen from the revival so far, if not the best. Gali is kind of tying at the moment. Swapping out the mask makes Ekimu a perfect Matoran sized build. I can't really think of anything wrong here, other than the shield. It's a little dumb. As a bonus, the protector mark fits better onto the stand and doesn't droop too much. Maybe it's just the way it's shaped though. For articulation, Ekimu has everything. A ball-jointed head, ball-jointed shoulders, ball-jointed elbows, ball-jointed hands, ball-jointed hips, ball-jointed knees, and ball-jointed feet. Lots of ball joints. For a size comparison, he's protector size. Nothing much else to say. Then we have Kulta. I really want to like this guy, and considering how he takes up at least 75% of the parts count, he should be adequate at least. But no, he just plain sucks. I guess I can compliment him a little bit. His colour scheme is nice and unified, if a little bit uninspired. His proportions are okay. Out of the box they looked terrible, but since then they've grown on me. The chest print is really nice, and he's a nice parts pack for mockists, featuring many trans pieces to use. But that's where all the good stuff stops. The biggest flaw is the chest build. I've made a complaint about Rodimus Prime looking terrible from the side, but at least that was barely noticeable. What's also a problem here is the open ball joints. They're not as noticeable on the other smaller sets, but here they stick out like a sore thumb. The build itself is the issue, and the only way to fix this is with heavy modification. Thing is, I'm reviewing this set based on how the traditional build works, as at least 60% of people will not modify their set. Instead, they'd either leave it together, or take it apart to build something else. The gear function also happens to be the worst I've ever seen on a revival set. He doesn't have enough friction to hold his massive weapon, causing his arms to flail around like a G1 Mata or Nuva set. This is 2016! Well, this is a 2015 set, but still, in this day and age, this is unacceptable. He also looks pretty bad from the back too. His torso doesn't have nearly enough armor to keep him looking good. His weapon is also really dumb. I don't know what it is, but he just comes across as cobbled together. Finally, his horns are attached directly to the eye stalk, so the mask launching function is constantly being triggered when you try to carry him. Be careful not to lose that mask, even though at some point I guarantee you will. His articulation's the same as Ekimu's, with the only difference being an enclosed elbow joint rather than an open one. The Bionicle articulation system is always solid, unless it's a gimmick-laden set. The only thing I could ask for is a waist joint, and this year I may get my wish, if the sets ever do arrive. For a size comparison, he's about the size of a larger Toa. I don't know why they're calling him a Titan size set, he doesn't really make it that tall. I really had trouble rating this set. Ekimu alone is a 5-star set, but Kulta is easily a single-star one. Even as I write this script, I have no idea how to rate it properly. Thing is, parts-wise, Kulta is the main focus of the set, but story-wise Ekimu is. I believe this is done simply to drive up the value of Ekimu, and by principle this is just wrong. Besides, if you really want Ekimu, I'm sure a Bricklink seller will have one on its own for cheaper. If you really want the mask only, then get the Titan-sized Ekimu that's on the horizon, and he's not in a 2-pack. Besides, he has a transparent blue mask, which I actually quite like. So in terms of how useful this set is, I can't think of any reason to buy it. But is it the worst set ever? No, there's been far worse in Hero Factory. But still, they were at least trying out the new building system, and they wanted to push the boundaries. They actually brought something new to the table. See, this is really difficult, because this doesn't bring anything new, it just takes a step backwards. In comparison to other sets, it's just really hard to rate. Okay, my final verdict for this set is 2 stars. I was really planning on giving this set only a single star, but that will be from my own personal view because of how much I utterly hate Kulta, and I need to look at this objectively. I'd steer clear of this set, despite how sought after it is. You'd be better off buying something from Nexo Knights. Those sets look cool. Next time I review my first ever Masterpiece toy. No, seriously, I've never owned a Masterpiece toy before. Go figure.